Back when the real estate bubble burst, we all heard the government had to bail out Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac using our taxpayer money. Well, now the two mortgage giants are close to repaying those draws. So what's next for Fannie and Freddie? And what does it mean to you, your home, and your money? Here with everything you need to know about the future of Fannie and Freddie is lifestyle lawyer Shari O. Hi, Shari. Nice to see you. For those of us who are less familiar with these terms, can you give us a little background about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac?
Absolutely. We've talked about them before. The government created Fannie and Freddie to help make the dream of homeownership available to all of us. And of course, the linchpin in buying a home is being able to get a loan. Right. So what Fannie and Freddie do is they basically buy loans from the originators, from banks and mortgage brokers. They put a guarantee on them and they turn them around and sell them to investors on what's called the secondary mortgage market. So that makes lenders and banks and mortgage brokers more willing and eager to make the loans to us, and it makes investors more eager to buy the loans, and essentially it ends up making home loans more affordable and easier available to average Americans so that we can own our own homes.
That's the preferred way of going about it for those, regular folks?
It's the dream.
All right.
It's the dream.
So how is it then that Fannie and Freddie wound up having to be bailed out with our taxpayer dollars?
Right. Well, that's an interesting question because we all heard about the subprime loans and the liar loans. Well, when the musical chairs of the real estate boom stopped, Fannie and Freddie ended up holding a lot of those loans. And of course, those loans ended up going into default. And so that's how they ended up losing all that money. But it's a little misleading to say that Fannie and Freddie caused the bubble because remember, the government and the president sort of tell Fannie and Freddie what to do.
Right. Oh, there's a lot of people involved.
Right. And the banks and the mortgage brokers originated those fraudulent loans. And it was actually us as taxpayers that stopped paying them.
All right, so how did Fannie and Freddie pay all that money back, and what's next for them now?
Right, well, and this is what's really important for us. One thing that happened when the bubble burst is every single bank stopped loaning money, except if Fannie and Freddie would buy the loans from them. So Fannie and Freddie acquired a lot of market share, and they charged what's called G fees on all of those loans. So they had more business, and they were able to make more money. The other thing that happened is we all remember those HAMP and HARFA programs. Well, most of those went through Fannie and Freddie because they were able to tell the banks, basically force the banks to give us modifications and give us refinances because they were behind a lot of those loans. And then, the last thing finally is that when the loans crashed, a lot of those loans were falsely sold to Fannie and Freddie with representation. So we've seen lawsuits. Last week there was one against Bank of America that was won for billions of dollars for selling fraudulent loans to Fannie and Freddie. So they've been pursuing those and have been able to pay back that 185 of that $188 billion. But what's going to happen now, John, is two things. There are new rules on Capitol Hill that are pending to change and in some instances potentially completely eliminate Fannie and Freddie, but also there are internal rules changing at Fannie and Freddie. So they're raising the credit score required for a loan, they're raising the down payment required for a loan, they're lowering the amount of a loan that you can get, and they're raising those guarantee or G fees, which increases the cost to all of us, which could potentially really impact housing and all of our wallets.
It's not as easy now to get the loan, but it's still, that is the way to go, the preferred way to go.
For most people, for 90% of Americans, but we have to remember what's going to happen if the market crashes again, and Fannie and Freddie aren't there to pick up the pieces like they did this time.
Don't say that too loud. Thank you, Shari.
Right?
Thank you for being with us. We'll see you next time. Let's go back to the anchor desk.